headlines, state government again speaks on need for communities to live in peace with one another. Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program sensitizes the girl child on the effects of early pregnancy. And fuel scarcity bites hard as most workers and businessmen trek to their offices. Details of these and other stories in just a moment. Top of the morning, and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Samuel Udofia. The state government has again spoken on the need for people and communities to live in peace with one another. The emphasis was part of discussions during this year's International Day for Tolerance. In demonstration of this stand, the government of Akwa Ibom State and that of Abia State held an interstate boundary meeting to mark the celebration of Tolerance Day. Patience John takes us there.
This celebration of the International Day for Tolerance took a different turn in the state as Akwa Ibom State government hosted the people of Abia State to a peace talk. The venue was the army base in Tondang in Oborokara local government area. The State Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, said the day, which is celebrated the world over, afforded the people of Akwa Ibom and Abia State the opportunity to make efforts to live in peace and end bloodshed over boundary issues. Describing people from the two states as those who share a lot in common, the Deputy Governor appealed to the traditional rulers of both sides of the divide to endeavor to preach the gospel of peace to their subjects. Mr. Moses Ekpo made a case for youth in the boundary communities to be gainfully employed, says this will keep them off violence and boundary conflicts. He called on the federal government to consider siting industries as well as construct the Ikorekbene-Umoye road to generate economic development of the areas.
When this occasion offered itself to mark the World Day of Tolerance, both of us jumped at this idea and decided we'll take that opportunity and celebrate our peace and tolerance. That is why it is here.
The Abia State delegation led by the Deputy Governor, Sir Ude Okochukwu, appreciated the move by Akwa Ibom State government to end the age-long skirmishes within the border communities of Abia and Akwa Ibom. He was optimistic that with the level of brotherliness exhibited by the two states, peace is in sight.
It is our hope that the expected result that will be mutually acceptable and binding will be achieved before the end of our tenure as Deputy Governors and Chairman of our state boundary committees.
The State Commissioner for Information and Communication, Mr. Nyekan Umana, who set the tone for the peace meeting, called on all parties to imbibe the spirit of the International Day for Tolerance and live peaceably with all.
Nobody was born, nobody came to this earth with this land that we are standing or sitting on. And everybody will go and leave this land. So what are we fighting? What is the fight about? What you have no control over.
Goodwill messages were received from stakeholders including chairmen of transition committees of the affected local government areas in the two states, legislators for the affected constituencies, the rector's Seat of Wisdom Seminary, and traditional fathers. The International Day for Tolerance, celebrated every 16th November, declared by the United Nations Assembly, became effective in 1995. The aim is to spread the message of tolerance as a panacea for peaceful coexistence. Patience John reporting.
Thank you, Patience John, reporting on the International Day for Tolerance. The state government has said it will continue to collaborate with authorities and stakeholders who are ready and willing to contribute to the development of the state. Government made its position known when the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Mr. Victor Antai, met with the people of Ibana and Eket local government areas during his tour of the areas. Imo Umana reports.
In Ibn Ibuna local government area gathered at local government council hall, while those from Eket met at Eket council hall. The Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Mr. Victor Antai, told the people to work as a team to protect the mandate they gave to Governor Udom Emmanuel. Mr. Antai briefed the people on the industrialization plan of the governor, saying that it is aimed at creating wealth for the people. He said that the administration plans to diversify the economy of the state by investing more in agriculture. He said that already the administration has obtained license to increase its electricity generation capacity and appealed to Ibuna and Eket people to donate lands to the government to encourage mechanized farming, which will create jobs for the youth.
And one of the key things of industrialization, oil power. Look at any successful business, or you go into any successful production, steady power supply.
The chairman of Ibuna Local Government Transition Committee, Mr. Henry Ekwe Nku, thanked the governor for his interest in the welfare of the people and the cooperation of the people to reduce unemployment among youth in the area. The chairman of Eket Local Government Transition Committee, Mr. Frank Achibong, appreciated the commissioner for the visit and lauded the state governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, for initiating programs that takes care of the people's welfare. The presiding chairman, Eket Traditional Rulers Council, Obong E.C. Abia, described the commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs as a worthy representative of the people and said that Eket people are in total support of the late administration.
The Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program, FAREP, has begun a sensitization of teenage girls in secondary schools across the state. The initiator of the Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program and wife of the state governor, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, while taking the campaign, tagged "Girls Uphold Your Dignity" to some secondary schools in Ikorekone Senatorial Zone, said it is aimed at reducing teenage pregnancy, violence and such other crimes against a girl child. Imo Mana reports that the awareness campaign is targeted at female students of Junior Secondary 3 to Senior Secondary 3.
Addressing students at Southern Anang Comprehensive Secondary School, Ikorokoro, in Madonna Community Secondary Commercial School, Ubuentanya, in Orogonam Local Government Area, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, represented by the coordinator of FAREP, Mrs. Ime Yang, spoke on the need for the students to abstain from early sex, which, according to her, could lead to various health problems like vesico-vaginal fistula, VVF, and HIV. Mrs. Inyang reiterated the need for them to uphold their dignity as girl child and called on parents to act as role models to their children in discipline and correction.
When you do not heed the instructions of your parents to abstain from premarital sex, what you get in return is unwanted pregnancy. It is unwanted because there is no man to father the child. It is unwanted because there is no home to raise the child.
Resource persons, including Mrs. Emem Nkeruwem, who spoke on the topic, the girl child and personal hygiene, Pastor Utbe Eno, who spoke on premarital sex, advised students to avoid friends with negative influences and take pride in being a girl child.
Kept very, very clean, away from dirt, from wearing dirty underwear and dirty pants and things that would not allow you to have some kind of comfort in that area.
You will know that chewing gum should not be that thing that will make you go and sleep around. You will know whether the way you will go with them, bush meat or 500 naira about should not make you lose your dignity.
In appreciation, the principal of Southern Anang Comprehensive Secondary School, Ikorokoro, Evangelist Edet Iteng, thanks the wife of the governor, Mrs. Martha Emmanuel, for initiating FAREP, saying that the program should be supported by all.
We thank the wife of the governor, Mrs. Udom Emmanuel, for she has done more than most mothers to educate the girl's child on how they should protect themselves, more especially against unwanted pregnancy and sex before marriage.
Responding on behalf of the students, the head girl of Madonna Community Secondary School, Ubontanya, Victoria James, ordered the wife of the governor and his team for a visit and prayed God to bless them. The FAREP team donated to the students of the schools they visited. Some of the participating schools spoke to AKBC Channel 45 News.
Unwanted pregnancy is not good, and premature sex also lead to unwanted pregnancy. They made me to know that premature sex is not good for young girls, especially when we are here now in schools. And I also learned that when we have sex, that our value will be gone.
The preparation is to reposition minds, to make the girl child wake up to self-discovery, realize that she has a part to play in nation building.
A university teacher, Dr. Manzi Nwankwo, has described the Akwa Ibom indigenes as the best minds naturally equipped to excel in any field, including the study of European languages. Dr. Nwankwo, who teaches German language in the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, was a guest speaker at the European Language Center, Eurolac, during an interaction with intending students of the center. Florence Umoitok has the rest of the story.
Tagged InfoTag with parents, the event was held at the Eurolac Study Center on Afia Street in Uyo. Describing himself as a product of Germany education, Dr. Nwankwo urged Akwa Ibom parents to allow their wards to study in Germany, given Akwa Ibom people's love for excellence as exemplified in the state's infrastructure and the profusion of great and teachable minds. He said that Akwa Ibom people are known to excel anywhere they go and in whatever they do, as observable in the excellent results of the students.
Germans cherish their freedom very much.
The Director of Studies, European Language Center, Eurolac, Mrs. Grace Obot-Maduka, who is a language expert, said that the aim is to assist Nigerians to gain legitimate and easy access to foreign studies and to broaden their scope, knowledge and influence.
Languages open doors, and people love it when they speak their language.
Students of the center, including Utebebong, Achibong Joseph, and Adedeji Oluwagbemiga, said that they were in the school to boost their chances of employment in foreign-based multinational companies.
If language would be a barrier for me to travel to work and see political instruments, so be it, I will learn the language. So I want the study to get a higher knowledge.
The students acted a drama and sang songs in foreign languages, while guests were treated to Germany delicacies. Florence Umoitok reporting.
You're still watching AKBC AM News. When we come back from the break, current scarcity of PMS taking its toll on the economy of the state. In a moment, stay with us. Still on AM News, and I'm Samuel Udofia. The current scarcity of premium motor spirit, PMS, popularly called petrol, is taking toll on the economy of the state. Correspondent who went to monitor the situation reports that commuters were stranded as there were very few commercial vehicles to ply the roads. She said some shops were closed for business and the owners found it difficult to trek to the offices while workers were returning late to their homes. She also reports of high transport fares occasioned by the lack of petrol. The report.
Some of the filling stations visited were the NNPC Mega Station, Ikorep Ene Road, Nesman, Nigerian Limited, Oron Road, Ibmapuka, Uyo Village Road, Ilindo, Oku Village Road, and Remaco Petroleum along Oron Road. The queues were long at these service stations, which were dispensing petrol at the cost ranging from 170 naira to 250 naira per litre. At the Ibman Puka filling station, some consumers complained about the high cost per litre.
Okay. They are selling for 200 a meter, which is not supposed to be so. Okay.
7:30, and you can see the gate is even locked.
A greater percentage of those who bought the product used jerry cans, which were of different shapes and sizes. Some attendants, on citing members of the State Task Force on Petroleum Monitoring, shut their services and took to their heels. An obviously frustrated tricycle operator, Mr. Miracle Etim, complained that his business was suffering because he has not had petrol to operate for days now. A public service worker, Mr. Godly Sunday, appealed to authorities concerned at both the state and federal levels to urgently do something about the situation, as it is taking a toll on the economy of the state and nation.
It was a sight to behold weekend as the quiet environment of Ibe Ikonkon in the local government area came alive when people from different walks of life converged on the primary school in the area for a happy time. The occasion was a traditional marriage between Jane Uwemedi Mo Essien, an indigene of that local government area, and Michael Okon Essien from Ibionibom local government area, all of Akwa Ibom State. Among those at the ceremony were family members, friends and associates of Jane and Michael, including the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Dr. Glory Edet. Eyano Paul was at the ceremony.
But the tradition of the Ibibio, maybe Akwa Ibom State generally, guests at this manner of occasion are often usually treated on arrival to local buffet known as Udiai Benge by the host. The ceremony was called to order when the chairman on the occasion had presented his remarks and parents of the bride, Mr. and Mrs. Uwemedi Moesiere, were ushered into the arena by family members and friends. A declaration of intent by the groom's family saw the groom Michael being ushered into the arena amidst pomp and celebration. In the same and even more colorful manner, the bride Jane was brought in by family members and friends. A very special moment was when Jane introduced Michael to her parents, while Michael, in the same manner, took the bride Jane to his parents, accepting to marry her. After extracting the consent of their parents, Michael and Jane were joined together in marriage according to Ibibio customs and traditions, after which they danced to the admiration of the guests.
You call me Niboya football. You got the Yamfu. Did anyone young me for some?
Yeah, I come on university. Yeah, more come about saying my sentiment. Infinite mood young field. Getting Jesus Christ. Don't let anyone Jane. Already more.
Michael and Jane on Sunday walked down the aisle at the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, Four Towns Parish, Uyo. Among dignitaries at the solemnization was the wife of the governor, Mrs. Martha Odum Emmanuel, the Commissioner for Women Affairs, Dr. Glory Edet, who is the aunt of the bride, and others. At the occasion, Michael and Jane expressed their love through exchange of vows and rings and capped it up with the signing of the dotted lines. Thereafter were declared husband and wife.
Thank you, Jane Uwemedi Moesiere. To be my only wife. To be my only wife. And in the presence of God. In the presence of God. And covenant.
Promise and covenant.
To be a loving.
To be a loving.
Faithful. And dutiful wife.
And dutiful wife.
To you.
To you.
Preaching on principles of turning your wife into ATM, the Reverend Joseph Eton said women should be organizers and peacemakers, while men should always fend for the family. At the reception, the master of the feast, Mr. Andem Andem, said marriage is the only institution where learning process is every day. The couple performed their first assignment here as they cut the cake, fed themselves, and took to the floor in a nuptial dance. They later spoke to AKBC Channel 45 News.
I'm so glad that I have found my dream wife. Like the future, I know it's the Lord that is
Iyagino Paul reporting.
Members of the Akwa Ibom Elders Consultative Forum have condoled with Sir Valentine Attah over the death of his mother, Mrs. Deborah Bolajo Charles Attah of Ibokofort in Uyo local government area. Led by the chairman, Chief Michael Afangide, the elders visited Sir Attah in his house in Uyo. Tom Monday was there.
Chief Afangide, whose address was delivered by a member of the forum, Engineer Emmanuel Rumana, said the group was there to commiserate with Sir Attah, the coordinator of the forum, on the demise of his mother. He said no matter how old a mother may be, her death will always be painful. While describing the death of Deborah at 95 as a celebration of some sort, he advised the bereaved to accept the will of God and to take solace that the deceased lived a good life.
And the elders, as you've seen them all, very much in sympathy with you. So, no matter how old your mother may have been, and once you lose your mother, you've lost a parent. Because that woman that suckled you, no matter how old she may be, she remains like your mother.
A former deputy governor of the state, Larry Valerie Ibe, described the deceased as a good woman, going by the quality of her children, who have contributed in no small way to the development of the state.
And we are here because we are elders. We are here because we love ourselves. Without love, we would not have been here. And here we transfer this same love to one who loves the mother. So this love is radiating in this house.
Responding, Sir Valentine Attah thanked the group for their love and show of concern. Sir Attah said his father, the late Charles Attah, met his mother in Ibadan, and they got married in 1948. He lauded his mother, a Yoruba, for her faithfulness and for keeping the family together 31 years after the death of his father. Sir Attah said the funeral will hold on Friday, November 20 at Ibukofort in Uyo, but that a joint memorial service will be conducted for his father and mother.
At a time like this, when we see ourselves and this sort of support is wonderful, it's tremendous, it is encouraging. I want you to stand by me also to join me in giving her a beautiful burial. And also the memorial service. My poverty level was so low when my father died that I could not do the memorial service. So I'm combining the memorial service of both of them and the funeral service of my own.
Other speakers at the event included a former minister, Chief Ndoe Sesien, Engineer Fiong Senakwabio, Chief Otu Robert Akpan, and the secretary of the forum, Obon Isene Sema. Members of the group later signed the condolence register. Tam Monday, reporting.
The body of a community leader and proprietor of Social Inn Guest House in Uyo, Elder Clinton Udoy Kanem, has been laid to rest in his compound. At the funeral service held at the government primary school of Aubeitam and conducted by Living Faith Church, Ikorobidoku, in Uyo, the late Elder Clinton Udoy Kanem was said to have provided inspiration to family members and succeeding generations in his community. The story is here presented.
In a message at the funeral, Pastor Eme David, who spoke on the preparation for the last day, said that wealth, position, and educational attainment are not the ultimate way to prepare for the last day, which according to him is the day of the Lord. He said that those who prepare well through the Lord do not die, but only sleep in the Lord. and admonished Christians to choose where they would spend eternity. Pastor David likened the exit of Elder Clinton Ekanem to what St. Paul said, that he fought a good fight and have finished the race. Therefore, he will receive the crown of righteousness from God. The biography of the deceased, read by one of his granddaughters, indicates that Elder Clinton Ekanem, who was born on the 25th July 1939, began his primary education at Kwaibo Church Group School, Koku, in 1945, where he read up to Standard 3. Elder Ekanem was at various times a pupil of the Christ the King School, CKA's Wellington Bassey Way, in practicing school at Zakun, present University of Uyo Town Campus, where he obtained his Standard 6. He attended the Kalabari National College at Beguma, Port Harcourt, where he completed his middle class examination, and later at the BBS State College, Ikorekbene, where he obtained his General Certificate of Education. Fondly called One Nigeria by friends and admirers, Elder Clinton began his civil service career as a telephone operator in 1958, having been trained by P&T Uzuakole. He retired voluntarily in 1984 and went into full-time business, where he opened a guest house known as Social Inn at Tabernacle Lane, Uyo. Elder Clinton Ekanem was said to be an exemplary leader, a source of inspiration to succeeding generations in the family, a great achiever, a social crusader, and a counselor.
Clinton was given to him by an American who fell in love with him during his childhood days in school because he was very intelligent and of good character. He used to call him namesake and promised to adopt him and take him back to the United States of America.
Testimonies were received from the family, village, and the church, while various groups and associations presented condolence messages.
In Atinan, the remains of a former staff of the AKBC, Mr. Ernest Enabong Ibanga, has been committed to earth. The funeral of the pioneer head of marketing department of the corporation took place at his compound and was conducted by the Kwaibo Church, Ikot Ebo, in Atinan. Anyetia Akpanitam was there.
Among those who gathered to bid farewell to the late Obongimem were friends, family members, and staffs of the AKBC. In a sermon titled The Flying Mantle of a Real Christian, the officiating minister, the Reverend U.D. Ikwot, who drew his text from 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 1 to 10, admonished Christians to always strive to do good in order to receive the crown of life from God.
And the question is, who is going to take the flying mantles of this man that has left us? He's no more with us, but his mantle is mine. Is it that
A biography of the deceased read by the daughter revealed that the late N.S. Ibanga, who was born on the 27th September 1928, had served in different companies such as John Holt Limited, Port Harcourt, and African Oil Nutu as marketing official. At the inception of the Cross River television service, which metamorphosed to AKBC, Ennis was invited to handle the commercial unit of the service. There he rose to become the first head of marketing, a position he held until his retirement. He got baptized in 1952 and became a member of the Men's Fellowship of Kwaibo Church. And honest, sincere man, N.S. Ibanga held many positions in the village, such as treasurer, and he represented Ikot Ebiya in the Public Health Committee.
Retired from AKBC as a commercial manager in 1995. He was born into a Christian family, and his parents were the early converts.
Condolence messages were presented by groups, among them the AKBC. Mr. Etop Apanya, who is the current Director of Marketing, AKBC, described the disease as a man of exemplary character.
Mr. Ibanga was a former staff of Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation. Mr. Ibanga was employed by AKBC in September 1983 as a commercial officer. By this
the first commercial manager of AKBC, get on to under him. Young man, man, the other is going to government. To you know, by anyone here, the lower director, me, kept department, and you get to market. Here we have no, it's only the Kenyan marketing department. It is very important. Tommy is swag with a young. I won't tell you as a person, can bomb as you want swag. I'm indeed a compound in this age.
Some of the children spoke well of their late father, saying that he was a man of impeccable qualities.
Somebody that is very open human being, very honest, sincere human being.
And Stenobong Ibaha was a good man. He was kind, loving, he was a disciplinarian, and he was God-fearing.
You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC450 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. And now to end the news, the top story. The state government has again spoken on the need for people and communities to live in peace with one another. That's our package. Thanks for watching and have a beautiful Wednesday. Good morning.